हेलो साथीहरू, आज म फेरि पनि एउटा नयाँ बिजनेस बुक ल्याएर हजुरहरूको सामु उपस्थित भइसकेको छु र आशा छ हजुरहरूले यो भिडियो अन्तिमसम्म हेर्नुहुनेछ र मेरो च्यानललाई लाइक, कमेन्ट र सब्स्क्राइब गरिदिनुहुनेछ किनकि तपाईको लाइक, तपाईको कमेन्ट र तपाईको सब्स्क्राइबले म नयाँ भिडियोहरुमा अझ थप एनर्जी र जोशका साथ आउने छु र आजको बिजनेस बुकमा मैले 0 to 1 रिटन बाइ पिटर थिल 0 to 1 रिटन बाइ पिटर थिल ले लेखेको 0 to 1 बुक लिएर आएको छु र यो एउटा यस्तो बुक हो 0 to 1 is the book of innovation 0 to 1 is the book of uniqueness 0 to 1 is the book of being out of competition being out of rat race being out of crowd र हामीले यति एमबीए गर्यौं बिजनेस स्टडीज पढ्यौं तर हामीले यति 0 to 1 पढेका छैनौं भने बिजनेस दुनियामा हामीले केही चीज मिस गर्दै छौं किनकि यो एउटा यस्तो प्र्याक्टिकल बुक हो जसले तपाईलाई रियल बिजनेस गर्न सिकाउँछ ब्रान्डिङ के हो इनोभेसन के हो टेक्नोलोजी के हो फ्युचर के हो फाइनान्सिङ के हो सेल्स के हो मार्केटिङ के हो यस्ता चीजहरुको एउटा गाइड हो दिस इज द बुक बिजनेस बुक एउटा गाइड हो जो चाहिँ प्र्याक्टिकल छ एउटा गाइड हो जो चाहिँ प्र्याक्टिकल छ हामीले पढ्ने विद्यालयमा पढ्ने त्यो टेक्स्ट बुकहरुमा के छ त्यो टेक्स्ट बुकमा खाली रट्ने काम छ रटेर गएर एक्जाममा मार्क्स ल्याउने मात्र काम छ त्यसकारण हामीलाई यस्तो प्र्याक्टिकल बुक जसले बिजनेस तपाईले पढ्ने बित्तिकै भोलि बिजनेस गर्न चाहनुहुन्छ भने तपाई गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ इफ यु युज द प्रिन्सिपल गिवन इन दिस बुक बाइ पिटर थिल भनेका फेसबुकमा पहिलो लगानी गर्दा हुन् बाहिरबाट चाहिँ पहिलो लगानी गर्ने व्यक्ति हुन् फेसबुकमा पहिलोचोटि लगानी गर्ने व्यक्ति पिटर थिल हुन् पिटर थिलले के भनेका छन् भन्दाखेरि यस्तो क्वेशन सोधेका छन् यहाँभित्र एउटा क्वेशन यस्तो सोधेका छन् त्यो क्वेशन हो व्हाट इज द इम्पोर्टेन्ट ट्रुथ दैट यु बिलिभ इन बट नोबडी एग्री विथ यु तपाईसँग एउटा यस्तो ट्रुथ के छ जो कि तपाई मात्र त्यसलाई एक्सेप्ट गर्नुहुन्छ र त्यो आइडियालाई वा त्यो ट्रुथलाई कसैले पनि एक्सेप्ट गर्दैन के छ त्यस्तो चीज भनेर पिटर थिलले यो बुकमा लेखेका छन् र यो बुकको अन्तिम पेजमा पनि एउटा के चीज भनेका छन् भन्दाखेरि पिटर थिलले व्हाट भ्यालुएबल कम्पनी इज नोबडी बिल्डिङ यस्तो एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण कम्पनी यो संसारमा कसैले पनि बिल्ड गरिरहेको छैन रे के हो त त्यस्तो कम्पनी र जब मैले यो बुक पढेँ नि त मलाई यो बुकले सोच्न बाध्य बनायो किनकि दिस इज रियल्ली प्र्याक्टिकल बुक really practical book you should read it once before starting the business if you are not reading this book तपाईले यदि बिजनेस गर्नुभन्दा पहिला यो बुक पढ्नु भएको छैन भने तपाईले बिजनेसको रियल पिक्चर छ नि मिस गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ यो बुकमा पिटर थिलले फ्युचरको बारेमा कुरा गरेका छन् फ्युचर के हो त फ्युचर इज रियली अनएक्सपेक्टेड फ्युचर के छ हामीलाई थाहा छैन तर 10, 15, 20 वर्षपछि फ्युचर अहिलेको भन्दा फरक हुन्छ भन्ने चाहिँ हामीलाई थाहा छ त्यसकारण हामी चाहिँ फ्युचर बनाउन लाग्ने हो जाने हो फ्युचरको 10 वर्ष 20 वर्षपछि फ्युचर इमेजिन गरेर अगाडि बढ्ने हो भनेका छन् जो मान्छे अहिलेको लागि जिउँछ प्रेजेन्ट सर्टकट कुरा जो सर्च गर्छ नि त्यसले चाहिँ त्यो लङ टर्म न्यारो माइन्डेड पिपल हो लङ टर्मको लागि त्यो सर्भाइभ हुन सक्दैन त्यसकारण पिटर थिलले के भनेका छन् भन्दाखेरि फ्युचर इज अनएक्सपेक्टेड इभन दो हामी चाहिँ फ्युचर अहिलेको भन्दा फरक हुने भएकाले वी सुड इमेजिन अ डिफ्रेन्ट पिक्चर इन आवर माइन्ड फ्युचर यसै गरी टेक्नोलोजीको बारेमा भनेका छन् टेक्नोलोजी व्हाट इज टेक्नोलोजी हामी सिम्पल भाषामा बुझ्दाखेरि टेक्नोलोजी भनेको एकदम खतरा चिज हो ठुलो चिज हुनुपर्छ हाम्रो देश टेक्नोलोजीले नभएर पछाडि पढ्यो भनेर हामी नेपाली हामी आफैलाई भन्छौँ तर वास्तवमा टेक्नोलोजी भनेको त यो रहेछ by the definition Peter Thiel the simple and better way of doing something is technology the simple and better way of doing something is technology तर हामी चाहिँ ठुलो चीजलाई मात्र टेक्नोलोजी भन्ने सोच्छौं हामी बस्ने चेयर पनि टेक्नोलोजी हो because chair makes comfortable easy that's what Peter Thiel talk in this book about technology त्यस्तै गरी पिटर थिलले अरु यस्तै कुराहरु यो बुकमा भन्नुभएको छ र जब यो बुक पढिन मोनोपोली मार्केट भनेको के हो
in teaching entrepreneurship or writing about entrepreneurship there's a big challenge in it because I think there is no single formula as you could tell from the last few speakers it's always a very different story And I think every moment in the history of business, every moment in the history of technology happens only once. The next Mark Zuckerberg will not be building a social networking site. The next Larry Page will not be building a search engine. The next Bill Gates will not be building an operating system company. If you're copying these people, in some sense, you're not learning from them. And this is why I think there is no science to business. Science starts with the number 2. It starts with things that are repeatable and experimentally verifiable in one way or another. Whereas I think every great company is one of a kind. And the question of how do you get from 0 to 1? And so the starting point for my book, 0 to 1, is this sort of anti-formulaic approach. It's to take this question of singularity and uniqueness as the central question. And I try to get at it through a variety of sort of contrarian questions. What great business is nobody building? Tell me something that's true that nobody agrees with you on. These are often quite hard questions to answer because we think it's hard to come up with some new truth, or it often requires courage because you often have to go against conventional wisdom in one way or another. I want to maybe share 2 or 3 of these contrarian truths that I believe that people generally don't understand. And I have my book 0 to 1 is a whole set of these things that I believe to be true that most people do not agree with me on. First big truth that comes right out of this idea of unique businesses. I think that if you're a founder or entrepreneur, what you want to aim for is monopoly. You want to aim to build a company that is one of a kind and that it's so far differentiated from the competition that it's not even competing. And I think this is the conventional wisdom is always that capitalism and competition are somehow synonyms. I believe they're antonyms. A capitalist is someone who's in the business of accumulating capital. A world of perfect competition is a world where all the profits are competed away. If you want to compete like crazy, then you should just open a restaurant in Chicago. And I think the great companies like Google, is sort of the paradigm example I use, has had no serious competition in search since 2002, when it definitively distanced itself from Yahoo and Microsoft. And as a result, it's been generating enormous cash flows for the last 12 years. I sort of get at this. I think there are sort of 2 different reasons this monopoly and competition idea is not understood. One is somewhat intellectual, because the people who have monopolies don't talk about it. They pretend not to have monopolies for reasons that I will leave to your imagination. And the people who don't have monopolies pretend to have something unique about their business, because otherwise nobody would invest or give them any money. And so, and the way you do this is, if you have a monopoly like Google, you will pretend that you are in a much, much larger market. So you will never, as Google, talk about the search business and say, we have a 66% share of the search market, and we're much more dominant than Microsoft ever was with the operating system market in the 1990s. You will instead say that we are a technology company, and technology is this vast space where we're competing with Apple on iPhones, and we're competing with Facebook on social, and we're going to build a self-driving cars, and we're competing with all the car companies in Detroit, and there's just competition everywhere. And so it sort of gets obscured by making the market appear to be bigger than it really is. And then conversely, if you were to listen to my talk today and run out of here and decide you had to start a restaurant immediately, and you talk to various investors, and they'd say, well, I don't want to invest in a restaurant because I know they all go out of business, I will lose all my money. You will tell them some idiosyncratic story where this is a one-of-a-kind restaurant. It's completely unique and very different from all the others. It is the only British Nepalese fusion cuisine within downtown Chicago. And so there's sort of this fictional story that gets told the other way. And so I think that because of these distortions that people tell about their businesses, I think this monopoly question ends up being very, very underappreciated, and we sort of underweight it as a variable intellectually. But I think there's also sort of a second reason that this is not understood that well. I sort of, the opening line of Anna Karenina is that all happy families are alike, all unhappy families are unhappy in their own special way. And I think the opposite is true of business. I think all happy companies are different because they figured out some way to radically differentiate themselves and escape from competition. All unhappy companies are alike because they fail to escape the essential sameness that is competition. The chapter in my book entitled All Happy Companies Are Different got excerpted by the Wall Street Journal, and they retitled it a little bit more provocatively with the title, Competition is for Losers. And the reason this is such a provocative title is because we always think that the losers are the people who can't compete effectively enough. The losers are the people who are slow on the swim team in high school. The losers are the people whose grades or test scores aren't quite good enough to get into the right universities or something like that. And so the idea that somehow competition itself is something that we are perversely attracted to is very counterintuitive. And yet I want to suggest that there is always this incredible pull that competition has on us. The autobiographical anecdote in my book when I was a teenager in my 20s, and the advice I'd give my younger self was incredibly driven by these sort of competitive dynamics. My 8th grade junior high school yearbook, one of my friends said, "I know you're going to make it into Stanford in 4 years," and sure enough, I got into Stanford 4 years later, then went to Stanford Law School, and then ended up at a big law firm on Wall Street. It was one of those places where from the outside everybody was trying to get in, on the inside everybody was trying to get out. When I left after 7 months and 3 days, one of the people down the hall from me told me it was reassuring to see me.
Perfect market भनेको के हो? मार्केटको कसरी मार्केट कम्पेरिजन गरेका छन्, हामी कस्तो मार्केटमा छिर्ने, कस्तो मार्केटमा नछिर्ने, कसरी छिर्ने, किन छिर्ने, के हो, सबै चीजको एउटा गाइड हो. आइ एम सेइङ गाइड, आइ एम सेइङ यु टु रिड दिस. र यदि तपाईले 5 क्लासदेखि 10 क्लाससम्म दिएका टेक्स्ट बुक नपढेको भए र त्यसको सट्टा 5 क्लासदेखि 10 क्लाससम्म यो बुक पढाइदिएको भए हाम्रो विद्यालयमा यति हामीलाई 10 क्लासपछि बिजनेस गर्नु थियो भने हामी गर्न सक्थ्यौँ. किन? दिस इज प्र्याक्टिकल बुक. द टेक्स्ट वी आर रिडिङ फ्रम ग्रेड 5 टु ग्रेड 10 आर युजलेस बिकज एट द टाइम वी जस्ट रट्ने काम गऱ्यौँ अनि गएर एक्जाममा लेख्यौँ, सक्यौँ. बट दिस नट द्याट बुक. This real practical book. This is not theoretical book. It's practical book. If you want to start building a great company from tomorrow, you can. From tomorrow to 10 year, 20 year, up to where your vision is. This book will give you vision. This book will give you the mission. This book will give you purpose. This book will help you to think big. र नेपालमा जति पनि स्टार्टअप हुन्छन्, त्यो स्टार्टअप पैसाको लागि हुन्छन्. कुनै चिज भ्यालुएबल दिनलाई हुँदैनन् कहिले पनि. त्यसैले नेपालका बिजनेसहरू ग्लोबल्ली सक्सेसफुल हुँदैनन्. हामी पैसा कमाउन मात्र ध्यान दिन्छौँ. अर्निङ र लर्निङको डिफरेन्स हामीले पत्ता लगाउन सकेका छैनौँ. फर्स्ट वी हेभ टु लर्न, वी हेभ टु देन लर्न गऱ्यो भने अर्न बाई प्रोडक्ट हुन्छ. त्यसकारण लर्न गर्न हामी जस्तो युथ जो स्टार्टअप गर्न चाहन्छन् त्यस्तो मान्छेको लागि यस्तो बुक पढ्न एकदम जरुरी छ. र आज तपाईँले मेरो यो भिडियोबाट लिन सक्ने लेसन भनेको एउटा मात्र हो, गो एन्ड बाई दिस बुक. यसलाई चाहिँ 500 रुपियाँ पर्छ. 500 रुपियाँ जसरी भए पनि, खाजा नखाए पनि, बुवालाई कराएर मम्मीलाई कराएर जसलाई भए पनि अरू बुकहरू पढ्न छोडिदिनुहोस्, यो बुक पढ्न थाल्नुहोस्. किनकि इफ यु वान्ट टु स्टार्ट बिजनेस है, इफ यु वान्ट टु स्टार्ट बिजनेस फ्रम टुमोरो after you complete this book, then you will really think deeply, you will really think about customer, you will really think about experience for the people, you will really think about building a valuable company that can exist with after you die too. That's what I want to tell you. That's what book tell you. त्यसकारण एउटा मात्र कुरा लिनुस् आज यो भिडियोबाट, त्यो हो गएर यो बुक किन्नुस् र 5 चोटि 10 चोटि 15 चोटि जतिचोटि सक्नुहुन्छ त्यसचोटि पढ्नुहोस्. यदि तपाईँ भर्खर फर्स्ट टाइम रिडर हो भने, पहिलोचोटि पढ्दै हुनुहुन्छ भने तपाईँ बिस्तारै पढ्नुहोस्, अन्डरलाइन गर्दै ओल्ड मिनिङ पत्ता लगाउँदै पढ्नुहोस् र एक दुई महिनामा सकिन्छ यो बुक. त्यसपछि तपाईँ चेन्ज आउँछ. मैले भर्खरै सकेको यो बुक पढेर 2 महिना अगाडि मेरो दिमाग चाहिँ हल्लियो क्या वाट आई एम थिङ्किङ अबाउट बिजनेस रियली डिफ्रेन्ट मैले चाहिँ बिजनेस के हो बिजनेस चाहिँ बुझेको थिएँ ठ्याक उल्टो रहेछ त्यस कारण एकचोटि पढ्नुहोस् टेक द राइट प्रिन्सिपल टेक द राइट वे ह्याभ राइट म्याप त्यो राइट म्याप भयो भने त तपाईँ डेस्टिनेसनमा पुग्नुहुन्छ यदि राइट म्यापै छैन भने कसरी पुग्नुहुन्छ त्यस कारण एकचोटि अब पढ्नुहोस् राइट म्याप इज दिस फर अस जो चाहिँ भर्खर युथ छ जो स्टार्टअप गर्न चाहन्छ थ्याङ्क यू दिस मच फर टुडे अर्को भिडियोमा फेरि एउटा अर्को खतरा बिजनेस बुक लिएर आउँदैछु र त्यो बिजनेस बुक यस्तो बिजनेस बुक लिएर आउँदैछु हेर्दै गर्नुहोस् मेरो च्यानल लाइक कमेन्ट सब्सक्राइब गरिदिनुहोस् सब्सक्राइब गर्नुहोस् तपाईँकोमा मैले फेरि अपलोड गर्ने भिडियो तपाईँको सामु पुग्नेछ र तपाईँले पनि यस्तो बुक पढ्न थाल्नुहुनेछ र यति मलाई मसँग साथी बन्न चाहनुहुन्छ भने दिवस ढुङ्गाना भनेर फेसबुकमा गएर टाइप गर्नुहोस् दिवस ढुङ्गाना DIVAS दिवस DHUNGANA ढुङ्गाना DIVAS दिवस DHUNGANA ढुङ्गाना गएर फेसबुकमा टाइप गर्नुहोस् र म तपाईँलाई म एड गर्छु साथी बनाउँछु र इफ यु हेभ आइडिया लेट्स डिस्कस इन च्याट इन एनीवेयर वी क्यान मिट च्याटमा पनि हुनसक्छ जहाँ भेट्यो पनि हुन्छ इफ यु हेभ आइडिया एन्ड आई टु हेभ आइडिया लेट्स डिस्कस एन्ड मेक समथिङ भ्यालुएबल फर नेपाल समथिङ भ्यालुएबल फर दिस वर्ल्ड लेट्स गिभ समथिङ भ्यालुएबल थ्रु आवर युनिटी
that's working in the West. You can maybe skip a few steps, but if it executes against that, the people in China will be much better off in the decades ahead. And then I always draw technology on the y-axis, and I describe it as vertical or intensive growth, doing new things, going from 0 to 1. And we can sort of see this big difference between globalization and technology if we think about the history of the last 200 years. There have been periods of globalization, there have been periods of technology. The 19th century was a period of both. From 1815 to 1914, you had tremendous technological progress and tremendous amounts of globalization taking place. After 1914, with the world wars, communism, all sorts of other events, globalization sort of went in reverse. The world became a much more disunited, much more fragmented sort of a place. But technology continued to go at a ferocious pace. And I would argue since maybe about 1971, when Kissinger went to China and globalization restarted, it began at a ferocious rate the last 40 plus years. Technology's been going a little bit more slowly, where it's been, as I already said, a narrow focus on computers and a little bit less of other things. So the last century, unlike the 19th century, has been a period where we first had lots of technology, but no globalization, and we've now had a more recent period where we've had lots of globalization, but only limited technological progress. And this change is reflected in a very different way in which we talk about today's world. In the 1950s or 1960s, we would have described the world as being divided between the first world and the third world. The first world was that part of the world that saw relentless, accelerating technological progress. The third world was that part of the world that was permanently stuck, permanently screwed up in one way or another. So no globalization, but lots of technology. Today we would divide the world into the developed and developing nations. The developing nations are those that are copying the developed world. And so this developing dichotomy is a pro-globalization dichotomy. It's sort of a convergence theory of history where the entire world will become more and more homogeneous as globalization continues apace. But it is also implicitly an anti-technological dichotomy, because when we say that we're living in the developed world, we are implicitly saying that we're living in that part of the world where nothing new is going to be done, where things are finished, they're complete, and we can expect decades of stagnation and sclerosis, and the younger generation should expect to have a lower living standard than their parents, and we have sort of this rather bleak view of the future. And I think we should not accept that sort of a label. We should not accept this idea that we're living in the developed world. And so I will end by saying that I think we should always return to the very contrarian question, how can we go about developing the developed world? Thank you very much.
Through our unity, and we can. That's you should believe we can. That's you should believe we can. Thank you, thank you. Bye. Thank you, thank you, thank you. र म सक्सेसफुल मेरो मिसन भनेको के हो यो भिडियो बनाउनेको just only to help you to learn something before to earn, to help you to learn something before you earn. Thank you, thank you. Read this, Peter Thiel 0 to 1, Peter Thiel 0 to 1. Thank you, thank you.